Do you want to know what I've spent most of my life doing in the last couple of months?
I reckon I can guess.
What do you reckon it is?
I reckon it might be a certain multiplayer rogue-inspired spin-off to your favourite game of all time.
Yeah, Elden Ring Nightreign. Let me tell you about it.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I know on paper, Elden Ring plus roguelike is the dream game for Jonathan Dunn.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect to be as taken with this game as I have been.
Yeah.
It wasn't an immediate sell because, like, there is quite a lot to get your head around, certainly for newcomers and even for seasoned FromSoft heads like myself. There's plenty of new things to get used to. And after I had a bit of a run out in the network test version of the game, I still wasn't sure if the game was going to be for me or not. And then, reviews came out that were generally pretty good, but we're looking at 7s and 8s, not 9s and 10s for it. Spoiler alert, I'm 150 hours deep, and it's almost certainly going to be my game of the year.
Yeah.
But to get to that point, it did take a little warming up. And I think a lot of that came round to me convincing myself that I could get on board with 3-player online co-op, which I was hopeful that I would, because it's something I always loved in, Dark Souls and in Elden Ring, was summoning allies to fight alongside me in boss fights.
Yeah.
And, even though I guess I sort of had my fingers modestly singed with subpar online co-op experiences recently with Monster Hunter Wilds. I think it was Casper, friend of the show, Casper. He said, you can coast your way through runs of Monster Hunter while being crap and having your teammates carry you, but you can't fake being good at Elden Ring.
Yeah.
So the caliber of players you're playing with are largely pretty decent. More of that side of the game in a bit. Let me tell you about how Nightreign works. It basically boils the core Souls-like experience that From Software have refined over the last decade plus into 40-minute experiences that tick off everything you love from those games and gives you the constant dopamine hits that you need to keep fighting on and getting stronger and learning and trying and winning. You start your runs by choosing from one of up to 8 different classes of characters that come with a preset fighting style and weapon, and 3 special abilities that range from powerful offensive attacks, area of effect attacks, buffs, lots of things that work in very, very different ways and are things that you don't see in Elden Ring. Then you are airdropped into a new area of the Lands Between called Limgrave, which is pretty big, but has a general sort of fixed topography across your runs. But then populating this land are a smattering of randomly placed ruins and churches and castles and everjails and mines and treasure chests, bosses, enemies, secrets. And then you and your 2 allies then fight your way around the land, beating bosses, finding better weapons and getting experience and leveling up to get stronger and stronger. After a certain amount of time, a circle of Nightreign, this is rain spelt rain.
Okay.
Yeah, the Nightreign starts to close the size of the map, to the point where it will gather on a final boss for that in-game day. You beat that boss, and you'll get a nice big perk. And then you go to day 2, the map opens back up. Again, you get the chance to do more of the same, except you're stronger, so you can take on some of the stronger challenges. And then if you get to the end of day 2, you beat the day 2 boss, you go on to fight a Night Lord on day 3. Winning that fight will be a victorious run. And there are quite a few different Night Lords to choose from on your runs as well. And they're all new bosses for Nightreign, and they're all epic and awesome. They all have individual elemental strengths and weaknesses, so you can sort of tailor your build accordingly as you fight your way through the days to reach it. Quite helpfully, your map will show different elements on the different sites around the map to give you a clue as to what type of weapon you'll get for beating the boss of that location. So, if you're fighting a Night Lord that's going to be weak to fire, and then you see a set of ruins with a fire icon next to it, go there, you beat the boss, you probably get a fire weapon to use then in the Night Lord fight.
Yeah.
So you can quite quickly plot a route and hatch a plan of how you want to tackle your runs, and you do need to get a move on because time moves quite quickly. It runs out quite quickly, and if you loiter, you'll get caught short or get caught in the Nightreign, which will eat away at your health the longer you stay in it. And there's loads of other things to try and target on your run as well, like visiting churches to increase your health flasks, or unlocking Everjails for extra boss fights, or fending off random raid attacks, and making sure you go to the mines to get upgrade materials so you can forge a stronger weapon, and just loads of things to think about. Like trying to stay coordinated, that's the key to success in a run in Nightreign. And you can always drop a pin on your map to like wordlessly communicate with your allies as to where you think you should be headed next. And sticking together is absolutely key. A memo not everyone has got, unfortunately. More on that side of the game in a bit. The thing that makes Nightreign more of a roguelike experience is the way that the weapons system has been streamlined. For a start, there's no armour to worry about, aside from having space to pick a couple of talismans that give you extra buffs. But your build consists of 6 weapon slots, and every weapon you find, well, pretty much every weapon will have a perk attached to it, whether it's like increasing a certain elemental attack type, or increasing your health or defense in certain situations, or augmenting your strength depending on what type of weapon or stance you're adopting. And then holding on to one of these weapons, even if you're not using it, that's enough to then benefit from that perk. So your build is basically down to constructing a good selection of weapons to work together to strengthen your overall attack and defense, and your main weapon that you're using, or weapons. When you beat a boss, you get a treasure drop to choose from. Sometimes these will be weapons, they usually are, but sometimes they might be a passive perk as well to strengthen your build too. Weapons can be found in treasure chests around the world or as individual enemy drops, so it's always worth seeing like what's dropping to see if you want to pick it up or not, if it's going to work for your build. And then there's different rarities of weapons as well, from your bog standard stuff to all the way up to, rare legendary gear with amazing effects. The main point of focus in your runs in Nightreign is still basically what it was in Elden Ring, which is collecting runes, which is your currency, to level up your character as much as possible. And you want to do that, as your absolute priority within a run of Nightreign, because it massively increases your stats each time. You can level up to level 15. That's when it sort of caps out. I think I did manage to win a run. I think the lowest was level 11. I managed to win it, but, there have been plenty of times when I've been level 15, had a strong build and a legendary weapon, and still lost. Sometimes because I've totally misjudged something in a boss fight. Usually because of the ineptitude of my allies. More on that in a bit. So you've got these huge overarching goals to aim for on your runs, trying to beat all of the different Night Lords to unlock a final Night Lord boss. And now, that introduced into the game, there are also rotating, time-limited, Everdark Sovereign bosses, which are basically like souped-up, ultra-hard versions of some of the other Night Lords, with whole new fight phases and things. They're ridiculous. And they give you a special type of currency then you can then use to buy super cool things. But something I didn't realise would be in Nightreign, as much as it is focus on a single player experience. And I'm not just talking about being able to play in single player mode, which you can do. You can do it totally on your own, not in co-op, and it is actually really good fun. Like the game, I think it was like day 2 or day 3, a patch came out just to balance it slightly, and it does balance it really, really well. The enemies and bosses, they've obviously got less health. You gain more runes. I think you get a bonus like life to sort of take the edge off. And now that I'm fully au fait with the game, I really enjoy a single player run now and again. It's nice, cleanses the palate. But there are also individual specific character quests to work through across your runs based on each of the individual starting characters. And this is something that you can be sort of slowly chipping away at, even if you're doing it whilst you're doing multiplayer runs. And the thing about these characters, I just thought they would be just generic characters, just, pre-made different stat variations, like picking your cart in Mario Kart and your wheels. But these are all fully realised, considered characters in this world with their own stories, history and lore. And when you play as them, when you win a run, you'll unlock a journal entry, and then you start to piece together their backstory. And every few journal entries you unlock, you are able to trigger a remembrance, which is then like a special sort of quest that you get to do. And remembrances sort of take on different forms. Sometimes you'll have to just go and track down a series of characters around the round table hold hub area where you are. Sometimes you'll be transported to an area of the map or a specific arena to maybe beat a certain enemy or a certain boss. But the usual way you'll need to clear a remembrance quest is fulfilling an objective on a run. Which it could be beating a certain Night Lord with your character, or by tracking something down somewhere on the map during a run. And the really good thing about this mechanic is that it doesn't need to derail a run in order to fulfill it. And you don't need to worry about, starting a run with some random people and one of them is just going to go off on their own to abandon the main run to go and fulfill an objective that they're trying to do, in their overall game. Because if someone in your team fulfills one of those objectives, or you help them, the whole team gets a really, really big bonus. So it's a good thing if someone has one of these active during a run. And it's just a really, really clever way of doing it, because it means that, you're basically playing a single player and a multiplayer game at the same time.
Yeah.
And all of these character stories are all so good, really interesting, verging on heartbreaking. One of them is upsettingly disturbing. Some are just shamelessly epic, and the rewards for doing them are you then get some really, really excellent relics to equip onto your build for the next run. I haven't talked about relics yet. Relics are the sort of they're the roguelite element of the game, so allowing you to augment your starting character with a combination of perks to start your run.
Okay.
So when you finish a run, whether you win or not, you'll always end up with a few randomly generated relics. They'll have either 1, 2 or 3 perks on them, depending on their size. So the further you get in a run, the more likely you are to get bigger relics with more perks. And the relic will then be either a red, blue, green or yellow one. And then each character has different orientations of relic slots of different colours. So my Wilder might have his relic urn is red, blue, blue. So I have to put a red one and 2 blue ones. I can't put 3 red ones in there. And it means that you can't just equip any relic you want. So you have to work to find the best combination for each character. You get to unlock different urns as well for different characters that have different colour combinations, but there's never a time where you can just put whatever you want on. So there's always strategy. There's always thinking about how you can optimize the relic build for the character, and not just the character, but for the run that you're about to attempt. What elemental strengths, weaknesses you've got, what boss you might be targeting. It gets quite involving, because I've got thousands of these things now in my inventory.
Yeah.
But it's really straightforward at the same time. So it's just easy to get lost in it for a while, just going through and being like, oh, maybe that could go with that. And oh, actually, if I get that perk on a blue one, that means I can free up my red slot to then do this and blah, 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 blah. And then you get to save preset combinations of relics as well. So you can, you can easily switch between them. So you get this sense of overall progression between runs. It's a small sense, but it is definitely a tangible sense, because even though the runs themselves will be the same, your character is essentially just starting at the same strength each time, but equipping the right relics and being oh, okay, I've just got a new one that does this, that is enough to make you feel like you're going in with just a small advantage. Well, less of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Which I think is the thing. Right, let's actually talk about what it's like playing Nightreign with other people, because in the large part, I will say it has been surprisingly brilliant.
That's good.
For starters, it's really easy to matchmake, which is inevitable with it being such a new game. In order to unlock all of the Night Lords, and don't even know how many there are, 8, 9, something like that. I don't know. But in order to unlock all of them, you have to first beat the first Night Lord, it's still a big challenge. It took me, quite a long time to get to that. But the nice thing is that anyone who's doing a run targeting any of these other Night Lords then, is at least good enough to win a run. Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be people with different ideas of how you should play or how you should structure a run. And it was fascinating, because obviously I was playing this day one. It was amazing, seeing how sort of accepted routes through certain terrains and stuff emerge, that everyone started to do the same sort of way once we'd all sort of got on the same page, or if everyone had seen oh, okay, actually no, that is the right way to get through that bit to to get to the boss and miss out that bit. And it's just really interesting how that sort of just organically evolved. I mean, the pinning system is all you need for communication, and that's great. Whether people follow it or not is another matter, and it is infuriating when someone just goes off on their own to do their own thing, because you really do need to stick together to make the best attempt at a run. Like, I'd much rather have a team of lower ability players sticking together than a bunch of worldies just being arrogant, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst type of people are the people who maybe cock up on a fight, they drop, you know, the runes that they were carrying, and as you do in Dark Souls, you've got like a, you know, one attempt to get back to your runes and to pick them up, and they might die again, they lose all their runes, and then they just rage quit, because that does totally derail a run for the other two players. Like, the game does then like readjust a bit for two players. I'm not immediately. I think I can't. I don't even know exactly how it works, but I think like if you finish a day, the next day will then be slightly readjusted for two people. Maybe, I don't even know if that is the case. But in the most part, if someone rage quits, the rest of you are fucked. And there is a bit of a penalty apparently for quitting out of runs too much. Like, it puts like a timer delay on being able to matchmake again, but it doesn't seem to stop people. But when it works and you're with good people, which is most of the time, there's just a great sense of camaraderie when you're playing together. Like, if one of you dies, there's a little countdown timer before you die. And that timer is enough time then for one of your allies to get over to you, and to revive you in time. There's always like ways of, there's also ways of like pinning certain items. So if like a sword drops and I go, oh, actually that's good. It's not good for me, but actually the type of character this guy's playing with, that'd be good for him. I can then pin it, and then they can be like, oh, cool, thanks. And certain characters' abilities can like synergize and combine with others too. So like getting on the same page and finding the right rhythm between you is hugely satisfying when it clicks. I must say that playing with randoms is, as good as it has been, is still absolutely no contest for playing with someone you know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even need to be someone you know very well. Just finding some sort of consistency between you makes runs infinitely smoother and more enjoyable. And as luck would have it, none of my friends are playing the game.
No one at all?
Nope. And I blame the Switch too, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So I played for 120 hours with randoms until one particular run where we started by targeting an Everdark Sovereign variant of an already pretty big, tough boss. And immediately, the third player in our group just quit or left or got disconnected. I don't know. But the two of us just decided to just go at it anyway. We did pretty well on day one. We did very well on day two, and then probably both assumed we were done for going up against this final boss, because I mean, he can make mincemeat out of three of you quite easily.
Yeah.
But we did it. We just did an incredibly smooth fight. It was like we just totally understood what the others were doing, how to combine. We were totally on top of things. We made a great team. And I was thrilled when my new Spanish friend, Luis, sent me a friend request after the run to connect. And we've now been doing a few runs together pretty much every day since. And it's been fantastic. We don't chat during the runs. You know, you don't need to be more effective.
Stick those pins down.
Yeah, we're just on the same page, and even just having two people knowing what they're doing and doing it well together makes a huge difference. Even if the third person, you know, in the team lets you down. Like, I'm pretty confident in our ability now to claim that we could probably win any run we tried, unless something goes like terribly wrong. Which it has done a couple of times. We've been totally humbled because we took our eye off the ball with something. But, you know, we're very well coordinated. We usually get up to level 15, you know, with no problem, with a pretty optimized build. And, you know, we're just taking down all of the Night Lords. Like, we know the bosses really well. And, like, it's been fantastic. I can't quite believe how good Nightreign is.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much content there is in here either. I know one of the easiest criticisms to make about the game is, oh, they're just recycling assets. And yeah, of course they are. That's the point of a spin-off. That's why it's £30, not £70.
Yeah.
And they own it. And I like the fact that they're weaving in reusing assets from the Dark Souls games as well for, bringing in some of the older bosses into the game. It's fantastic. But when you see something like that, when you know a game is using, we've seen so many like Survivors games come out of spin-offs of other games, and you go, okay, you've just seen that Vampire Survivors is successful. You've got all of these assets already made. Just chuck them in a slightly different setup and charge £5 for it, and that's some money. That's not what this is. I was a little worried that there wouldn't be enough variety to keep me interested with only 8 characters and there's only one map. Like, even though like the map itself can alter drastically, I haven't even mentioned this. There's a mechanic called shifting Earth, and it basically means that randomly a fifth of the map will be switched out for a special biome, like a blizzarding mountaintop or a volcanic crater or a poisonous rotten forest or a giant ancient city. And all of those have amazing mechanics of themselves. They all have like a really, really cool secret hidden away inside them too, to try and get to and try and find. They've all got, just really cool specific world bosses for the areas. So like there's some really good variety in the map in between all of the locations, shuffling around every run too. And the introduction of these Everdark bosses is great, although I'm now waiting for the next batch of them to come around, because I feel like I've got all of their number now.
Yeah. You and Louise.
Yeah, me and Louise. I know that DLC is coming for the game. I'm already licking my lips at the prospect of having new characters, new maps, new bosses, new Night Lords to learn and conquer. But I mean, Elden Ring Nightreign basically gives me the essentials of a full From Software game experience over the course of a 40-minute run. And that is insanely good. Like, verging on dangerously addictive. Like, I start to get jittery if I haven't done a run that day.
Yeah.
Everything I want from my Souls-like experience, I get every few minutes instead of every few hours in a bigger game. Getting a sense of achievement, satisfaction, and success every couple of hours instead of every couple of weeks. I'm 150 hours into the game now, and I've done everything that can be done in the game, but I still just want to play it, because playing this game is so unbelievably fun. As a gaming experience, this is pretty much all I've ever wanted.
Extremely high praise.